You are listening to The Morning Show with Kathryn Thomas on Dublin's Q102. We are coming to you live from Old Wesley Rugby Club in Donnybrook, and we have our next panel joining us now. I'm joined by three absolute powerhouses who are not only at the top of their game, but they are changing the game while they're at it. Between us, not me, between them, they've got world titles, Olympic medals, national leadership roles, and more than a few moments that have made this country sit up and cheer. So let's give a big cheer for Orla Comerford, fresh off a double world championship win and sprinting her way into the history books. Michaela Walsh, a two-time Olympian, European champion boxer, and one of the fiercest competitors you'll meet in or out of the ring, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, we've got Sarah Keane, who's president of the Olympic Federation of Ireland and CEO of Swim Ireland, leading from the front and driving change at every level. Good to have you with us, Sarah. So we're talking medals, we're talking mindsets and what it means to represent your country and your sport at the highest level. And we really want to kind of get into the scenes, get into what happens behind the scenes as well. So Orla, I'm going to come to you first. You're just back from winning 2 World Championship golds. That deserves another round of applause. She wasn't happy with one. She wanted 2. And standing under the tricolour with the anthem playing. I mean, what was that like? What did that feel like?
Oh, like totally and utterly surreal. Like, it's something I've spent a lifetime dreaming of, and like you dream of these big moments and of success and of hearing Aaron Devine, and then for it to actually happen after so many years of dreaming, like it doesn't feel real. And then for it to happen twice, I could hardly believe it. And I just still feel like I'm in that bubble. Like, it hasn't really quite hit me, and I think it'll probably take a bit of time to sink in, but
which
I'm
is
very
fair enough.
glad. It feels. Yeah, but I'm so glad it feels this momentous that, like, you know, you spend your life going after something, and it fulfills every kind of dream that you've ever kind of imagined, and it's even bigger and better. And for me, to be honest, like, it's year 1 of that 4-year cycle into LA, so it kind of has me feeling really, really motivated coming into the next 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, to be starting there with 3 years to go is incredible. You compete with a visual impairment, and you've spoken about pushing para-athletics into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Do you feel like attitudes around disability in sport is changing, that you're seeing those changes, we're witnessing those changes?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I do think there's plenty more room for it to go, but I do think things are coming along and things are moving. I think this year for me, like, going into a season, I always kind of have 2 main goals. I have my own goals in terms of performances I want to achieve, whether that's podiums or times, and those kind of feel a little bit selfish. They're things I want to do for myself, for my coaches, for my support staff in Sport Ireland, all the people who help me. But I suppose the other goal that I have is putting para-athletics on the map, making sure that I'm stepping out on the circuit and getting involved with those integrated meets that show para-athletes alongside able-bodied athletes, be that Diamond Leagues or Continental Tours. And that for me is a really important goal, because it's bigger than just me. It feels like that's something for our sport, and that's something for the future and the next generation. And so I think it's really important that a lot of athletes kind of push themselves into those spaces, that we keep knocking on doors, keep asking those questions, making sure that we're kind of integrated into those meets, because I think the more people that see it, the more people that realise, like, para-athletics is athletics.
Totally.
And there's a space for everybody in sport. And I think it's great to kind of see that kind of growing, and hopefully it continues. And I'm feeling very privileged to be a part of that movement.
Oh, 100%. It's 100% deserved. Michaela Walsh, you've been to 2 Olympics and won medals all across Europe. When you stand with the tricolour, like, what does it feel like to represent your country?
It feels amazing to represent your country. I think especially going to Olympic Games when I was a child, training in my club up in Belfast, when I came in and seen the Olympic rings, when I've always believed and dreamt of going to Olympic Games, but when I was 13 years of age, it actually wasn't a realistic dream, because women's boxing wasn't even in the Olympic Games. And it's just crazy having that dream, and like that, you didn't know if it was going to come true or not, because women's boxing wasn't in the Olympic Games. And
like, it's mental to think how far we've come in that short space of time. Like, when you were a kid, probably one of the only girls in your boxing club, and now you go into any boxing club up and down the country, and there's girls there. They're turning up. They want to, because they have role models. They have people that they see that they can look up to, like you.
Yeah, and I think for me, obviously, Katie Taylor was a big part of that, getting boxing into the Olympic Games. I think she was just ahead of all the other women at that time. We're now, like, the women, no matter where you go in the world, everyone's at that level. Sometimes going to competitions, Ireland maybe would have been falling behind some of these other nations, because they had the backing and the funding and that there. But I think the women's Irish boxing team is one of the best in the world now, and we were just back from the World Championships. You had Aoife O'Rourke winning gold and Gráinne Walsh winning bronze, and for myself and a few others, we were just very unlucky. But it just shows you how much women's boxing has come along, and for me to be an Olympian, something I've always dreamed of, and to be able to achieve that is amazing. But I have my goal set on LA, and I really, hopefully, like Orla, be standing on top of the podium.
Yes, that's what, of course, we want to see. I mean, boxing is in the blood for you, like it's in your family, you know, with your brother, incredible boxer as well. Was it always part, like, were you just expected, like, you're not kicking a football, you're putting the gloves on?
Well, my father had us in every sport, not rugby now, I'm not as tough as them rugby ones, I have to say. But when I actually asked my dad to bring, my dad's my coach as well, when I asked him to bring me to the boxing club, he said no. And it wasn't because he was against girls boxing, but it was just so alien. He didn't know women were allowed to box, and I pestered him for weeks and weeks. Please bring me. And finally, after a few weeks, he caved in. And
when did you know it was something that you loved? And when did you know that this was something that you were damn good at?
When I remember first walking in, I don't know if anyone's ever been in a boxing club, but it has a
lovely smell.
There's a lovely smell, and it's hard to describe. I just remember walking in, and the smell hit me, and just the boxing bags moving, and I was so intrigued. And from then on, I was hooked. And I remember a coach in my old boxing club said, that girl trains harder than any of you boys, and that always stuck with me. So anytime I was in the gym, I always had to be the hardest worker in the room to stand out and prove myself. And I think that work ethic has just stayed with me ever since.
That is a message that we definitely all need to take home with us today. Sarah, lovely to have you with us as well. You've been a competitor yourself, and now you're the one supporting and leading hundreds of Irish athletes. Which one of them, when one of them steps onto the podium, like you having been there, you've done it yourself, like that must be a very proud moment for you as well, when you see our Irish female athletes doing well across all genres of sport.
From my perspective, what I love about sport and what these amazing women here beside me don't talk about as much is the failures, the hard times. There are so many more hard times in elite sport than there are good times. And I suppose for me, one of the things I love about sport and why I want every single female involved in sport is because it's those characteristics. It's developing that ability to stand on your own and do something. Even as part of a team, you're still expected to play your role in the team. So it's that ability, that learning to deal with that level of responsibility. I think that's really important for being an independent woman. That's also building that resilience, the fact that things in life don't go right most of the time, half the time, lots of the time. And as an athlete, you build massive resilience about that and learn to really enjoy the journey, because ultimately you can only manage the outcome so much. I mean, you can't stop someone else from swimming faster than you. You can only control how fast you swim or how fast you run. It's a little bit different maybe with boxing, but at the same time, it's about how well Michaela or other people box against their opponent. They can't stop their opponent. They can stop their opponent, but at the same time, they don't have the same level of control. So it's that journey about yourself being as good as you can be.
Can I bring you in on that, Orla? I mean, maybe talk about some of your failures. As we say, it's great to focus on the double gold, but
oh my God, I have so many more failures than I have successes. Like, you know, like this took 9 years of my career, and I joined athletics when I was 6 or 7 years old. So like I've been at this 20 years, you know. And I think people see those big moments and they see the glory, and that's great. But like people don't see those dark days, those tough days, you know, when you're slogging away by yourself, when you're injured. And like, to be honest, like I heard the whispers. I heard people at stages asking why I was still doing it, why I was still going. Things weren't working out, things weren't going well. But like I just had this sense in me that I wanted to be the best version of myself, whatever that result was. I wanted to be able to get back, you know, get to the end of my career and look back and say I gave that everything I had. There wasn't a stone I didn't turn. I pushed myself to those limits, and whatever the results be, like, you take them. And I think for me, sport has given me so much more than, you know, those goals are brilliant and I'll never forget them in those moments, but the moments it's given me outside of that, like the friendships, the connections, the resilience, like what it's built in me and how I'm going to carry that into the rest of my life, I think is so invaluable. Like sport, I owe it absolutely everything.